Samantha Condon. Right here are the plans that I used to make my quilt rack. There's the I made. There's some etchings that I did not put in my plan. There's the full picture of it. Here's the materials I used. 1x6x8 solid oak. I got it from Menards. Right here I'm making the template to make the standing rails of the quilt rack. Measuring things out, using the compass to make the handles and stuff like that. Right here I'm measuring out the standing rails. I'm going to cut them to size. And right here are the rails that hold the quilt. Cutting both of them here. Checking it, making sure it's right, and then cutting it. Use a DW, as you can see here. Right here I'm cutting my 1x1s, my top rails down to size. The 1x1s together, or gluing two boards together to make 1x1 for the top rail of the quilt rack. Right here I'm gluing the two boards together to make the stand-up rails, or stand-up things for the quilt rack, gluing them together. Down there I'm making sure it's flush on the end and flush together. Right here I got done doing the chiseling. Cutting the 1x1 down to size now, so it'd be a complete square. Measuring everything out so I can cut it down to the correct length. As you can see, I had a little trouble there. Cutting the length now. I'm gonna cut down to the final width, which is 9 inches. Originally it's 11 right now. I'm using the feather board to make sure my material's tied up against the fence and will not move. I'm going to tighten it up here. Here I'm cutting it down to length of 9 inches. Right here I'm cutting the standing boards to the correct length so that then I can use the template to lay it out on there and start cutting. Right here I'm have all pencil traced ready to go so I can cut it all out. As you can see, I'm tracing with my template. The template was kind of hard to make it perfect. Measuring out the routed spots where I need to router. Make sure they're perfect so they all fit together correctly. Kind of was time consuming part of it. Here I'm drilling out the holes to the spot so I can start where I can put the router in, and there's Colin in the background making faces. I had put a piece of tape on there just to make sure I drilled down hard, and I checked it with the router to make sure it was deep. If it wasn't, I'd go back and again, just a little more deeper. Part here is the setup that I use to router to make straight. Hard my hotel. Here I'm drilling out the hole so I can scroll saw out the top middle handle. Right here I'm scroll sawing, set it all up here, and I scroll sawed out the hole there. Alright, here I'm sanding down the middle part to make sure it's all even. Now I'm sanding the outsides, make sure they're nice and smooth, and getting the angles I did. Here I'm routering out the handle. Here I'm routering on the outside. I routed everything on the quilt rack, so it's all round over. I used a 1/4 inch round over bit while doing this. Here I cut the things to fit into the where I routed out the tendons or something like that. I'm routering both sides, or all 4 sides, edges of the part of, or the rails of the quilt rack to make them nice, look nice. Also, I use the 1/4 inch round over bit on this. I'm sanding them down. I made sure they were nice and sanded. Here I'm starting to glue together my project together. Just put glue in the spots. Then I flipped those over and put it together. Here I clamped it all together and held it nice and tight. You can see I had some glue spots that I missed. I need to sand over. All put together, done. Now I can start staining. This is kind of staining poly I'm going to use. Before I could do anything, I had to get the angles for the roundovers for evenly around for the quilt rack. I'm staining now, wiping off the excess stain I had. With my stain, I had to go against the grain and then wipe with the grain. I put 2 coats of stain on each of them and multiple coats of poly on them. This is the poly I used, and wiped a whole bunch, or just wipe on poly here, real easy to apply. Thank you for watching my video on how to make a quilt rack.